I want us to circle up right now and have a conversation about who needs to go get what in the spring transfer portal. Who needs to go make some moves, man? Got a couple of positions of need here for a couple of big teams across college football. But let's start with Michigan. Like, Michigan, they got to go get a receiver. And that's not me speaking ill of who they have on their roster right now. I'm a Peyton O'Leary fan. I'm a Fred Moore fan. But I need to see them have the proper accessories to a Bryce Underwood offense here in 2025. Because here's the deal, man. You've told us what your New Year's resolution is by going out and grabbing a Bryce Underwood. You've told us what you're going to be when you went out and got Chip Lindsey to be your OC. And what was that? Want to be a little bit more dynamic, spread you out a little bit. We want to throw the football more. Not just we want to throw it more, we want to be more explosive as an offense. Well, that's great. You got a quarterback. But guess what, man? The outfit's only as good as the accessories. I'm glad you got a nice T-shirt and you feel good about the pants, but you better go get some shoes with that. Better go get yourself some, maybe get a hat if you're feeling that kind of way. Get a nice jacket. Like, I need to see the outfit be completed here from Michigan. Like, if that's New Year's resolution, okay, go take the proper steps. We want to be in shape. Great. You buy a gym membership? No? Okay, then we're not really being serious about this. Now, full transparency, I think that Michigan's going to be very serious in the spring portal about getting a receiver. I'll go out on a limb here. I think that unless there is someone that jumps in the portal at the receiver position that has obvious ties to another place or another coaching staff, I think Michigan is about to get after it in the transfer portal. I think they'll go land the top guy in there at the receiver position. That's just my feel. Now, in some respects, you're kind of at the mercy of who does jump into the portal because we know, I mean, nobody's tampering right now in college football, especially not in the spring after we put that call to action out. But regardless, I do think that has to happen if you're Michigan. I think you got to go find someone to maximize this Bryce Underwood offense here in Ann Arbor. Now, speaking of maximizing your offense, y'all, Penn State, same deal, same assignment. Probably more urgent, though. You got Drew Aller for 1 year, man. 1 year. What happened last season was just, I don't know how you can sleep with yourself at night in State College. I don't, because you got to the semifinals, 3 points away from playing for a national championship. You got the ball with a chance to drive down, kick one through, and go play Ohio State in a rematch. In a game now where the first time you all played where you gave them a good little push. Beside the point. You played in the semifinals and had the game that close with your entire wide receiving core getting 4 quarters of cardio, not recording a single catch, and still you were that close. Now, Tyler Warren is gone. Drew Aller, like I mentioned, is back. Running back room is back. You are probably in a good position on defense. Like, let's have some sense of urgency here. Like, the first wide receiver that I see that jumps in the spring portal, if I'm James Franklin and company, I'm going, okay, what's it going to take here? What do you need? What do you need? We want, I got a 50, I got a 5. What is it going to take? What's it going to take? That's what I need to see from Penn State, man. Like, we got to get the wallet out and go to work. I don't care what it costs. We have a potentially a first-round quarterback. Let's go get it done, man. Because the window is right now. There's probably going to be other windows for Penn State in the future, but I don't want to finish the 2025 season, walk off the field for the last time and say, man, who's our quarterback next year? Man, what if we had gotten him? Don't have the what if we had gotten him a receiver conversation. You can't have that. Cannot have that, should not have that. And if I'm Penn State, I am hitting the portal hard this upcoming spring. All right, you go get a Keon Coleman caliber guy. I know that was previous cycle, but roll with me here. You go get a game changer. Penn State probably plays for a national championship. And you're 4 quarters away with the team you've played before. All bets are off. So that's how I feel about Penn State. For Miami, let's go get some help on the back end, man. Because Cam Ward had the best single season a Miami quarterback has ever had. And he's probably going to go be the first pick overall in the NFL draft because of it. My opinion. Another conversation for another time. But listen, with him not coming back, you got to find a way to offset what you were defensively last year. Because, Cam Ward was a safety net. Carson Beck, I think, is still going to be pretty good. I don't know that he's going to be as good as Cam Ward. It's not a fair thing to bank on to ask of him in this upcoming season. The thing that I'm excited about, though, from Miami, you're under new management as a defense overall. Specifically, you got a new DB coach in Will Harris. Snagged him from Florida, now in Coral Gables. He's a great coach. The label that's tied to him, though, is he is also an elite recruiter. So I think that Miami's going to go to work here in the spring portal. They were nowhere near what their standard was last season on the back end. I mean, I believe they were in the 60s or 70s nationally when it came to yards allowed per game through the air. Also now they're in a conference where who you have to beat to win the conference and have an automatic bid to the college football playoff, you're going to throw the ball a little bit. All right, Clemson's not on the schedule right now, I don't believe, but you're probably going to have to beat them in the conference title game to go play for the college football playoff berth, right? I mean, you got SMU, they're going to throw the ball with Rhett Lashley, Louisville, Brom Squad, Syracuse, they're going to throw the ball. You've got a second chance now with Carson Beck. You're probably not going to get a ballistic level of offense like you did last season, but it still should be good enough to get it done here in 2025. All right, so if you don't have a defense, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, don't get fooled again, or however that goes. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Don't get fooled is what I'm trying to say here if you're Miami. Speaking of getting fooled, I think it was the state of Texas that president came from. And Texas needs to go get a tight end here in this upcoming spring portal cycle. Now, this is not a knock on who Texas has already in that room. This is more so a desire to have more insurance at the tight end position with what you lost from a season ago. Gunnar Helm, gritty guy, gritted it out of the combine, running a 40 with half an ankle or whatever he was dealing with there in Indy. You lost your top 3 pass catchers from a season ago. I think it's fair to say that you're going to need to rely on whoever's at the tight end position for you next season to some extent. Also, that's kind of Steve Sarkisian's MO. The last 2 seasons, he has had a tight end be in the top 3 in receptions on the team out there in Austin. So I think when you look at what Texas wants to be next season, they probably want to be, I believe, a little bit more run-centric. I don't think you give Arch Manning a refined version of the offense, but I do think you look at your best players, and a lot of them in the running back room, you probably want to run the football. So if you can have a tight end that is able to be a threat for you downfield and be able to be a guy off play action that is a mismatch with the safety when they bite a little bit too quickly on the run game, I think that's, giving Steve Sarkisian just another infinity stone to work with. Like Cato and I were talking about this before the show. Perfect world, you have a tight end who has a defined skill set, whether it's a pass catcher or whether he's just a mauler in the run game, somebody that you know, hey, when he's in the game now for us, we know that his assignment we're asking him to execute, he is going to dominate. Whether it's in the, passing game, blocking game, we don't care. But the tight end position for Texas has been huge last couple of seasons. I think it will be huge here in the future, and I'd love to see them go get a little bit more insurance at the tight end position here this upcoming spring. Now, last thing I want to talk about, if I'm LSU, let's bring the boom back here. All right, no big justice. Let's bring 5 big booms back to Baton Rouge. I'd settle for 1 big boom, and the big boom I'm looking for is here on the defensive line for LSU. LSU has almost been the inverse of what we imagined LSU to be the last couple of seasons. Because you think LSU, when you close your eyes, you think violence up front. You think people fly into the football with bad intentions. You think hard hat and lunch pail up front. And that's not to say they haven't had that in spurts over the course of the last 5 years, but the last couple of years it's been Jaden Daniels. It's been Garrett Nussmeier last year going for 4,000 yards. It's been the defense where you're like, hey, do something. We're scoring over 30 a game. Can you please get a stop for us? Good night. I'd love to see LSU go add someone on the defensive line because last year they allowed 4 yards a carry. That's not good enough, I don't think, in any conference in college football to go win the whole thing. It's definitely not good enough in the SEC. Like the game, in large part, I say this, it has changed month to month. Like month to month, you have to have a quarterback, and you got to have a chance to go, score some points if you want to win a national championship. But week to week in the SEC, you better have those big human beings, because big human beings still move small human beings. That is still, from what I can tell, a scientific fact. So if I'm LSU, I understand there's a desire to not overpay on the defensive line. Kind of feel the same way I feel about Penn State with getting a wide receiver for Drew Aller. Like go get someone up front on the defensive line for LSU to maximize what you have at quarterback this season. You'll probably have a good quarterback in the future in Baton Rouge, but with the team you have right now, what you got through the portal at wide receiver, I think the offense is going to be in a good enough spot. Don't waste it by not having what you need in the trenches. So would love to see LSU bring the boom back. And if that means you got to go throw the wall around NIL style, let's go do that. So to recap here, Michigan, go get a wide receiver. same deal. Penn State, maybe a little more urgency. Miami, let's go help our back end out a little bit here. Let's make sure we can score 40 and still win the football game. Let's not have that be the issue. Texas, tight end play for Sark has been huge. Let's get some insurance for that room. And then for LSU, let's go attack it on the D-line and get better there. Would love to see that for the guys, man. Would love to see that for the guys in Baton Rouge and really all those spots.